War for the Planet of the Apes is the latest in the new Planet of the Apes reboot franchise. We had Rise of the Planet of the Apes, a fantastic, wonderful. It's a little bit of a B movie, but it's got a true emotional heart to it that you just get hit in the feels and you get goosebumps watching it. And then Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, I thought was a damn masterpiece follow-up. If Rise of the Planet of the Apes was a sort of B movie, Batman Begins for the apes, then Dawn to me was like a Dark Knight for that franchise. It was just amazing and I loved it. And this one I was very anticipated, very excited to see this war go down between humans and the apes, the battle for the planet. I was excited to see more of Caesar, see where his story goes. I've been following him through the last two films, love him. I love Caesar so much, one of my favorite movie characters. This damn ape played by Andy Serkis, he's just amazing and I've really grown so attached to him. I want to know what happened next. And this film's directed by Matt Reeves, who also made the previous Planet of the Apes film, and it follows Caesar. It's a little bit after the events of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Humans are going after them hard this time. Woody Harrelson plays a colonel who's he's got like a hit squad out for Caesar and his apes. And then things progress. Caesar ends up on a revenge story. But then the movie transpires into a prison movie where Woody Harrelson's got like a Holocaust death camp for apes, more or less, a work camp. It becomes a prison POW movie with apes in it. And it's not really a war for the planet as much as the poster, the title, the trailers might have promised. And I'm not going to hold a film responsible for its marketing. You know, titling is one thing for sure, but like a trailer or a poster can dictate things that maybe the movie can't deliver on because marketing and selling the movie. Yeah, I saw a trailer, I saw the posters, the movie's called War for the Planet of the Apes, but I was willing to judge the movie for what it was and what it gave me and not just, there's not a war so it sucks. Instead we get a very dark, depressing, and different Planet of the Apes movie than you might have expected from War. Obviously, let's stop treading on the fact that it's called War, okay? Enough of that. But the movie's different than what I expected. It's a revenge film. It's Death Wish with Caesar. I kind of dig that. That's cool. And Caesar, he's going through a lot in this movie. He's really questioning his own morals and what he's stood for. And he had his own set of rules. He's like Batman, but an ape, where he had a code of conduct that he wouldn't break the rules of. And he's questioning his decisions in the past and what he wants to do now. He's trying to be the best leader he can for his apes, but he's got his own conflicting goals, and he's like, I need to fuck up Woody Harrelson real bad. And as always, the best part of these Planet of the Apes movies are Caesar and the performance by Andy Serkis. And Andy Serkis blows me away again. Andy Serkis is so great in these movies. He is the heart and soul of this franchise. Caesar, that character, I've grown so attached to him. I'm so on his side. This movie isn't a lot about the humans. Rise had the most humans, where it's half and half. James Franco and Caesar, and then Dawn had some human characters. In this one, there's Woody Harrelson and his death troops, but it's all about the apes. They're the main focus. We don't have to worry about relating to a human character and like, where would we fit and connect to? No, we're with Caesar, and they get it, so they're just presenting it as that. Like, humans are essentially bad, the apes are good, follow the apes. It's primarily apes. And I'm very happy with that. They don't have to shoehorn in a human character so that I can relate to them in this situation. No, I relate to Caesar. I like Caesar. Just give me a lot of Caesar, and they do. A lot of Caesar and the other talented motion capture performers that do all the apes. Maurice, an unsung hero of this franchise. I love Maurice since Rise. Like, orangutans are very scary because they're very imposing, but also there's something very cuddly. You just want to hug him. So yeah, and then Rocket, Luca the gorilla in this one. Yeah, a lot of lovable apes. Bad Ape, played by Steve Zahn, a new addition to this franchise, and a risk. He's very comedic relief in a dark movie that you'd think the tone would not mesh and go together well, but actually they played it just right, where he added a lot of good levity in times that worked, and it wasn't overbearing, and he was really enjoyable. And then to talk about the humans, yeah, we got Woody Harrelson, and he's a very understated villain. He's not necessarily memorable as a bad guy. Like, it's a good performance, but Woody Harrelson, he's so underplaying it. It's so subtle. It's not a big performance by any means. It's much like the movie. It's very quiet, subtle, and underplayed. It doesn't want to go big. It doesn't want a big villain. The big action set pieces, it has a few. It has a few action bursts at the beginning and end that are really good, but actually most of the movie, we get some cool stuff at the beginning, and then the movie, throughout most of the middle act and into the third, it kind of, I wouldn't say drags, but it does slow down severely to become this prison POW movie. And I will say, I have an issue with that whole segment because some of the logic does drop out of the movie. Certain things happen where you're like, does that make sense for motivations? Woody Harrelson's character's motivation seems to really do a 180 now for this other thing. We're setting it up and it eventually becomes something that's a little anticlimactic, And like unconventional because, oh, you didn't see that coming. It's a surprise, but also feels a little anticlimactic. We were building up to something and it wasn't as cool as it probably should have been. Yeah, the middle segment slows down. Woody Harrelson, his motivation seemed to really change, and what he's going after, I don't know why it was necessary. They probably should have sped it up. At least if they were going to do it, have it go by quicker, try to justify it more. I don't know. This movie overall is supposed to serve Caesar in a way of tying up his trilogy. His whole arc has to be complete by this point. And the story they were telling, more or less, you can keep doing them, but as a trilogy, they're trying to wrap everything up. And for the most part, they do good. But I have an issue with this movie overall. It goes for some emotional moments throughout the movie that don't work, where I'm supposed to be choked up and teary-eyed and hit me in the feels, and I should, but they don't do it right. They execute it wrong through poor writing, through rushing certain aspects where it's just like, all right, we didn't really set this up, da-da-da-da. Do you care? Are you sad? Emotions? No. No. It was actually pretty disappointing because the other two were so easily able to just hit me in the feels and the emotions twist around in there and rip and pull on my heartstrings. And this one just couldn't get me. It had several chances, several different opportunities where it's going for very emotional moments, and I didn't feel nothing. I still care about Caesar and the Apes, but I'm not emotionally invested as much as I thought I would be. Like, I care about them, but when it came down to it and it's like, all right, let's make you feel something, I got nothing. Oh, but by the way, did I mention this is a Planet of the Apes film that focuses primarily on the apes, the fantastic motion capture apes with the beautiful special effects? Because yeah, it's lifelike, it's insane. We got the great performances, and it's served by some of the most groundbreaking special effects I've seen. The first one, Rise, is kind of rough looking at certain points and it doesn't hold up. Dawn still looks pretty much photorealistic, but this is just next level. Each time a new movie comes out, just keeps getting better looking, because this one is insane. It looks like real apes running around. There is not a moment where I go, there's the fake CGI. It all just looks real, and it's insane. It's mind-blowing. It's crazy. Special effects are so great, it really adds to the illusion. Andy Serkis has given you a performance that the special effects back up and make you believe because he looks like that chimpanzee. So it's just amazing, and that's great. The apes are the best part of it for sure. The little action bursts we get are pretty cool. I like the story mostly. I like where it goes mostly. I like seeing Caesar struggle with his own code, his own ethics of what he's going after and what he's trying to do and how he questions himself. And he's at war with himself and this and that. Woody Harrelson does good, but the movie, it's got a little issue with the middle part. Just like, okay, the movie goes nowhere and the logic starts falling out of it a little, and the emotion that it goes after is missing. It's hollow, and that's disappointing. I love the other two so much, but there's still so much about it that's so impressive. So overall, I'm very happy with War for the Planet of the Apes, but I will say it's disappointing, and okay. So overall, I was pretty happy with War for the Planet of the Apes. I was very impressed by a lot of things, but it's actually a little bit of a disappointment, and I think Caesar as a character deserved better. To tie his whole trilogy up and everything, Caesar deserved better than what he got, which isn't to say it's a bad movie, but of the trilogy, it might actually be the worst of the three. I'm thinking about that because Rise, for all its B-movie silliness, and also there was some dumb logic and da-da-da-da, it still had a more emotional core that hit me, gave me goosebumps, pulled my heartstrings. I cared and felt more invested in that one than I did in this one. And then Dawn I loved, and was the great mix of heart, caring, really emotional moments with the dark, bleak dramatics that it had. It was a great balance, and it had some kick-ass action. It had more action. It was more of a war film than this one was. It's just one of those things. On repeat viewings, I might appreciate and like it more, or I might actually dislike it more and feel like that middle part is even worse. It's just one of those things. But right now I gotta say, it's in the air. I don't know if I like it more or less than Rise, but I think Dawn is definitely better than it. I still like it so much, and has so much going for it. Still, the amazing performances, the brilliant special effects, just lifelike in an insane way. Actually, we do get is really cool. The movie, it is disappointing in certain aspects because it's unconventional in that it's going to do things you don't expect and surprise you, but it's also, it could be anticlimactic and just kind of disappointing, and certain things just don't add up with why characters do what they do, and it's like, why do we need this wall? What's the point of this? And as a tie-up to everything, it closes it up. The trilogy closes up mostly nicely, but not perfectly. Certain things should have been done better, deserve to be done better. For Caesar's sake, he deserved better than what he got, but it doesn't mean we didn't get a really good film in the process. This one was more in tone with Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which I appreciated. It's not very B-movie. It does have some B-movie logic at times, but it, much like Dawn, is this bleak, dark, depressing movie that's like a summer blockbuster, but it's like we're not going to feel happy about it. It's not a happy movie. It's very sad and dramatic, and I appreciate that they're like, listen, let's just go for some dramatics. And it's about apes. Here's an ape in a very dark drama about prison. That's kind of cool. It reminds me of the movie MVP for no reason. In that movie, a chimp plays hockey, and in the sequel, he does skateboarding. It's kind of amazing. So I think thinking about overall, I would say this is the second best Planet of the Apes movie. Dawn is better to me overall. This one is a better movie than Rise, but I was more emotionally invested in Rise than I was this one. That one just, it was a sillier movie, but it had better connection to me emotionally. But this one is better overall. The construction, like I said, the technicals of this movie, the direction, the camera work, effects, brilliant, next level, top of the game, some of the best you'll see in a movie this year. So yeah, I'd give War for the Planet of the Apes an A-. I still really love a lot about the movie. I really enjoy it, but I'm disappointed by certain aspects. There's things that could have been done better, and that's okay. It's okay to really like a movie and be like, listen, it has so much going for it, but, and then like dislike certain aspects. It's okay to have a great movie that's flawed. A flawed masterpiece of sorts. It's okay to be disappointed by a movie and not love everything. It happens. Sometimes you got a great movie and some things just don't all work out about it. Not everything's perfect. So comment below, tell me your thoughts on War for the Planet of the Apes, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.